Welcome back to The Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I'd like to send you a warm welcome. Here I talk about issues that happen within the Black community, hopefully for some resolution or at least some food for thought to go about your daily way. So, without further ado, I'd like to jump into this episode's topic, which is why are most Black women allergic to the term submissive? So, first, I like to read the definition of submission. Okay. This is according to Webster's Dictionary. The action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. Okay, and then you have the word submissive, ready to conform to the authority or will um, of others, but we're going to say to a man. Okay, being meek, obedient, or passive, right? So I can just hear all the men out there cheering right now, right? I'm kidding. So submission is often an unspoken requirement that many men desire, regardless of nationality. So this is regardless of race, black, white, Chinese, Australian, Norwegian, whatever, right? And I say unspoken requirement because most men are raised to have this kind of expectation of a woman. So it's something that, it's kind of like a no brainer. Some men talk about it, some men don't. And I don't think every man requires a submissive woman. I don't think every man does, especially in 2021. But a lot of men still will say it, and some of them don't say it, but they just expect it, okay? But when you ask most Black men about submission, and if they desire submission, they will quickly concur or agree. Okay? Black men are most often to quote that Black women are too dominant or lack the ability to acquiesce to submission. Okay, so they're saying that most Black women they don't want to follow a man's instruction. Okay, Black men will often say that white women are more submissive, which is a general assumption, okay? Because I'm sure not all white women are submissive, but it's the stereotypical. And, for the most part, seen as, white women being more submissive. The word or term submission should never come up between two people who aren't even married, okay? Because I'm going to jump back into, white women and white men, okay? Because we can't mention about white women being more submissive without mentioning the role of white men, though, and why white women are so submissive, okay? But I wanted to bring up some pointers, and I just brought up one is that, I find a lot of Black men, they're mentioning the word submissive, and they're requiring for women to be submissive that are not even their wife. And that's a problem in the Black community because I think a lot of, number one, I think a lot of Black men are not educated to know what submissive really means. They just think like, oh, if I tell you to hop up and down as a woman, you should hop up and down. And that's not, it. If I tell you to work at X amount of hours, if I'm cheating on 10 women on you, I expect you just to be quiet. And I think a lot of Black men will say that's not how they think, but this is, what they really come across as. And I think that's kind of left a bitter taste in a lot of Black women's mouths. Let me continue. And like I said, it should definitely not come up, at least if you're not even, at least engaged and married. So number two, when you as a man ask a woman to follow you, because that's basically what you're asking. When you're asking an adult, a woman is an adult, and you're asking her to follow you, to trust you and your decision making abilities that will affect the results and the rest of her life. So, as a man, you are asking a woman to follow you, to trust you, and your decision making abilities. And I find that, a lot of Black men, not all, but a lot of Black men just want you to follow them. They don't have a plan. And as a matter of fact, they don't even have a plan for their future as a Black man. And so they're wanting you just to follow them as they, what they say, let's just see what happens. A lot of black brothers say, let's, no, 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 I'm not going to follow you just to see what happens. It's not in the nature of a woman just to follow a man that likes to say, let's just see what it do. Let's just see how it happens. No, no. To trust you and your decision making skills. If you have poor decision making, your judgment is poor as a man, that's going to cause a woman not to be able to trust you, because this has the results of ruining her life, and we see that a lot um, in, like I said, single motherhood, and we see that a lot with a lot of the damaged black women out here, and then we have a lot of black men saying that you chose the wrong man. But I encourage the black man to use some critical thinking ability. How many black women have to complain, or how many black women do you tell that they chose the wrong man before it becomes a lot of black men are the wrong ones to choose? Because the black man must get his mind together. So the black woman must get her mind together, and she must make better decision making skills in who she chooses. But the black man also must, take responsibility and make better decisions. Number three, a man must prove to that woman he is worth the sacrifice of her independent self. So she's, not to say that she has to become like a mannequin, but, she has to, give up some of that independence to let another person lead. Okay. And number four, submission doesn't mean gullible or mindless. Okay. It doesn't mean that, the woman can't think for herself. The black woman does desire to be submissive, and I really believe that she does. A lot of black women, I believe the problem is too, a lot of black women have been submissive to the quote unquote wrong man, have been let down, and once that happens, once or twice, or sometimes not just even once, especially when you start having children, it causes you to be, defensive. And we'll talk about that just a little bit as far as, the black man's response to submissive women. But let me continue. Okay. But the failure of the black man, so the black woman does desire to be submissive, but the failure of the black man to discuss how he has let the black woman down, okay, is no more different than white supremacists who refuse to acknowledge racism. I'll repeat that again. The failure of the black man to discuss how he has let the black woman down is no more different than white supremacists who refuse to acknowledge racism. And what I mean by that is, a lot of black men, a lot of brothers are chalking it up that black women are just crazy, they're just mad, they're just bitter and delusional for no reason. No reason at all. Okay. And so anytime that, a black woman, even intellectual wise, brings up certain issues. A lot of black men will just say, "Oh, she's crazy. Oh, here's another bitter bat." So this is no more different than when black people try to discuss, slavery and racial equality. It's no more different for white supremacists to say, "Hey, you're just crying. You're just being a big crybaby." It's no more different, and it's time for the black man, if he wants some respect and he wants compassion back. Okay, because I truly believe that black women in this decade is basically showing, is a reciprocating what she's gotten from black men from the last 30 40 30 years or so. She's reciprocating. So a lot of black men are saying black women are cold-hearted, black women are acting like this and that. I believe it's because of the treatment that they have received from a lot of black men. Okay. Let me continue. And let's talk about, so let's dive back into white women being more submissive, okay? But first, let's take a look at most white men. So, a lot of black men have made the assumption, so not all black men, but a lot of black men have made, the general assumption that, white women are more submissive. So I'm going to make a couple of general assumptions about white men, okay? If you study white men, they too desire submission mostly. So I'm not going to say all white men, and the things I'm about to discuss doesn't apply to all white men, but It applies to a lot, just as many as there are submissive white women, basically. So let me continue. And with white men, as long as he remains part of that household, so as long as that white man lives in the household and the woman complies, okay, so she's submissive, she's complying, he is willing to make sure her life is comfortable. Okay. So, while the black man is saying that the white woman is, submissive and everything, you also have a man that is making her life more comfortable, when she is compliant, when he is a part of that household. For example, when we're talking about white men here, he doesn't look at his woman like a desperate trick for requiring, okay? And that's one of, I think, the things that has happened, with the black man and maybe his lack of resources. And I think, we can say that for back in the day when he didn't have a job, couldn't have a job. But now we have many black men that refuse, okay, to provide for his woman, especially the mother of his children, which should be his wife. So this isn't many women. This isn't just women that you're just sleeping with. There should be a woman that has your children and that you're married to. And I find with black men, they're really quick to put their women down, okay, for things that a man should provide, for his family, his children, his wife. Black men are more prone, not all black men, but black men are more prone to look at a black woman as a trick. She's desperate. And I think they've been psychologically engineered to look at black women like that, because you don't see white men looking at their women like that. If their white woman said they need a house, they go out there and work for that house. That white woman says she needs food on the table. That white man goes out there to work for that food on that table. And in return, he gets that submission. And what we find is with a lot of black men, they're looking for those same traits as many men, but they're not providing the things that black women need inside the home, and then calling them tricks and whores, and abusing black women for just the necessities that is a part of the agreement of the authoritarian and submission in the household that a lot of black men and men period seek. But let me continue. Many times white women don't even need to require, okay? They don't even need to require anything, because white men were taught to be true authoritarians and provide. So before she even requires it, she's already got it, okay? Because he's already studied his woman so much, he already knows what she wants. Okay, so all that begging and stuff, the white woman really don't never have to go through that. So the black man, he's wanting this submissive stuff, but he's not doing his part. So he wants the perks of being the authority in the house, but he's not doing the responsibility and the burden part. And I think that plays another part that causes difficulty in the black woman and man relationship, especially black men that want this submissive quality in a woman. Let me continue. Another thing about white men is he isn't trying to give his woman the cheapest or the least. I find that with a lot of other, black men too, some of them. Also, he isn't trying to give his children the cheapest education or options. So when we're talking about the white woman being so submissive, we're talking about the white man. The white man takes pride, not all white men, because there's all sorts of people out there in the world. But when we're talking about generalizations here, and we're talking about generalizing white women being submissive, so we're going to generalize white men here. Okay, so when you look at the white man, he's not talking about get the cheapest necklace or get the cheapest, household material. The white man takes pride in his woman and his children having the best that he can afford. He brags amongst his friends, no, my child goes to this school, or my child has this. Okay, and with the black man more so, you'll see him saying, oh shoot, I gotta get this, I gotta get this, I'm not going to say the word, but I got to get her something else. So it's a burden. It's you know, not desired. So it's giving the black woman very little incentive. Like, what are you doing to make my life easy? As a black woman, that you want me to be submissive and trust where you're leading me. So we have these things going on in the black community. So and that's the difference, I think, with white women being submissive and white men taking more authority, not just in the bedroom and sex, but also the other components and categories that it takes to make that dynamic work between man and woman. Okay, because the white man's not missing that. And I think with black men who do date and marry white women. I'm not saying 100% so, but I think those brothers, they try more than ever to be that man that they were supposed to be for perhaps another black woman, not so much supposed to be, but the woman that if the black man was the woman that he was, oh excuse me, if the black man was the man that he was to the white woman, to the black woman, I think they would get more submission out of the black woman. But I think with white women, sometimes they try even harder, to please that white woman. So it looks like she's so much more submissive, but he's actually trying more harder too. That black man's trying more harder. So let me continue. Um, so we've just discussed what most white women get in exchange for submission, okay? So they get a man that's going to, provide and protect them pretty much. But what about black women, okay? Many black women fear submission out of being taken advantage of or abused, okay? Many black men claim they want submission, okay? But when they come across a feminine woman, they will call her gullible, naive, and dumb. Or the infamous quote, I got me one. Okay. And this is very troublesome, from the black community with the black man. Okay. I've seen several, instances and even, on videos and whatnot, when you have a submissive woman, you have a feminine woman, and you want to call her stupid or gullible or I got me one. What does this I got me one mean? So, I take it that this means I've got someone that I can hurt. I got someone that I know that trusts me. So I'm going to dog her out and play her. Is this what the infamous quote from the black man, I got me one, means when he means he has a woman that's loyal? Okay, so a lot of black men are not telling the truth. They have had loyal women, okay, but have abused their authority and have um abused that woman's trust and trust in him, okay? So that's going on.